So listen, you'll be pleased this morning because it was some time and long ago that you had your decade-long love affair with Crystal Palace when you're at the top of the house.
Yes.
But you're always pleased to see them win.
Of course.
And they won.
Indeed.
Yeah. What about Wilfried Zaha? I mean, he's always the topic of conversation. We talk about Palace, we talk about Zaha. His contract expires next summer. Yep. Vieira's pretty relaxed on that, but then stresses how important he is, Simon. You know, when Wilfried has a good day, invariably the team's got a good day. He's an important player on and off the field, in possession, out of possession. He works really hard. Should Palace be sweating on Zaha's situation in terms of contract, or will Eze be the natural replacement eventually?
Not so much as maybe they once did. Because as you will see, the team is evolving, and what Patrick Vieira is doing in the observations that he's made is managing both stalls. The fact that the player doesn't get himself into a box seat thinking he can ramp up the idea of £130,000 a week needs to get bigger for Crystal Palace, and on the other side of the argument, making sure that he doesn't devalue the player and keeps him on point for the rest of the season. Look, very rarely have Palace let Wilfried get into his last season, is my recall. So they're probably more relaxed than they've been previously, because he's coming to a point in his career where he's not going to be as sought after as perhaps he once was at 31 years of age. Still a hell of a player in my book. And still very valuable to Crystal Palace. But I suspect that the way that they're handling it is because they're comfortable with the circumstances. Very rarely do a club like Palace let a key asset like Zaha enter into the last season knowing all that entails. But I do think that Palace have moved on from it simply being this statistic that we saw about a year ago, which is they never win without Wilfried Zaha, and they only ever win when he's in the team. That has moved on a little bit. Yeah,
I just wonder if there's another big move yet for Zaha. And at one stage in his career, he was making noises that he very much hoped there would be. Or does Wilfried Zaha stay with Palace for the rest of his career?
Oh no, I think if he was staying, it'd be done. I think he's already set his sights on a new challenge for sure. I can't see that being any. I don't see another outcome in that respect. Why wouldn't it be done?
Is that the best outcome for him?
I think it's brave, because why wouldn't you want to try? I mean, I would imagine if he's got good representation, they'd already be speaking to various parties about taking him on a free, because he's a super talent on top of his game. I mean, you'll take if you even if he is 30 when he moves, 29, 30, whatever he is, if you're taking him on a free, it's not even that big a risk. He looks to me at the moment like someone who's the king of his castle. Yeah, he's the main man. He's fit. He's sharp. His football intelligence is at the top. It's better than it's ever been. I heard him talking about the less need for dribbling and more quick passing and only dribbling in dangerous areas. Thought it was really, really sensible talk. It was like he's developed over the last 18 months, 2 seasons, even more than previously. So I think it's done. I unfortunately for Palace, I don't see why you would be seeing your last season out. He's going to give himself lots of options by being a free. There'll be plenty of takers, and probably I'd be surprised if the takers weren't bigger and more ambitious clubs than Palace.
Sure,
I think there's an element of that. Yeah, and also the pricing in previous incarnations, the reasons why Wilfried Zaha hasn't gone is because Palace wanted to hold the line. They wanted to get value for their player. They wanted to be in a situation where the player, in their view, was getting. They were buying, people were paying top money for him. And at once upon a time, I think Palace thought that was 60 million quid. And there is this stumbling block. I don't know why it exists, but it is there, that the bigger clubs, so-called bigger clubs, don't think they have to pay teams like Crystal Palace the same sort of money as they have to pay other football clubs to get their players, because they think they can take advantage of the leverage that their brand will have, their football club will have, in terms of the player will be prepared to go the extra yard to come and join them and put pressure on the club that he's at. And Palace didn't buckle. When Arsenal wanted to buy Wilfried Zaha, they didn't want to pay anywhere near 60 million quid. They didn't want to pay anything much over 30 million quid, is my understanding, and Palace just weren't having it. And so now we've got a situation where if he does go and he's out of contract, then he opens up the door to a whole raft of clubs like Tottenham and Arsenal, if we talk about those particular clubs, because there's the cost implication. The only cost implication they've got is his wages.
Yeah. I look at Eze last night, Danny, and I think Qatar's just around the corner. The fact that it is just around the corner, does that work to his disadvantage? Is it too late for him to maybe get on board and get a place at the World Cup?
Yeah, it's too late. I don't see, with the abundance of talents we've got in attacking areas, why Gareth would drop someone or leave somebody out to put Eze in. You never know. There might be one surprise. He might surprise, but doubtful because he's had no experience of playing England first team. In international football. So no, it's too early, Jim. But he's such a gifted player. He's got that wonderful balance on the ball and poise where he can go past people. It looks effortless when he's on the ball. He's going to develop even more in the next. Well, the more he plays, the fact he's at a club where he's playing every week and not having bit parts off the bench is fantastic for his football education. So I've got no doubt he'll end up in an England shirt at some point.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.